Hello everyone, my name is Dorothy and I'm an illustrator in Portland, Oregon. And today I wanted to share with you some tips that I have for creating art on trips or while you're traveling. One of the first things that I would recommend is let your travel partners know that you want to make art. Better yet, go with people who you know will be doing like creative things. If they like photography or poetry or writing things or reading, maybe you can both schedule some time to do those things that you like to do, and that would allow you some time for art. The second tip that I have, if you're short on time, this is probably like something that you probably already do, but if you're short on time, just take a photo and then do the art later, either at your hotel or your rental or at home, like when you return from the trip. That has helped me a lot to remember to be in the moment. I feel like trips, you got to savor it, and you can't just be drawing or taking photos or videos all the time. You need to be in the moment, Tip number 3, places that I like to draw or do art. I love to draw in museums. I think that's one of my favorite things on trips is to draw in museums because it allows me to look at all the brush strokes, look at all the intricacies of the art and just appreciate it. And it does help me to be more in the moment. I know that some people don't love to have people watching them draw, and that totally makes sense, especially because in a museum somehow I feel like people feel entitled to watch you. Maybe because they're already looking at other art or something and they're like, ooh, another exhibition. Another place that I think you could draw is on a picnic. I think it's great to draw when everybody's kind of doing their own thing in a leisure setting. So other people might be reading or eating things. But I think on a picnic, you can feel free to draw. You can feel free to get up and look at things, take photos and draw later. You do you. Another place that I love to draw or do art is at restaurants or at a cafe, specifically if you're outside or in some scenario where it's really interesting or you have very cool food that you want to capture. I think that's very cool. Of course, if you are short on time, I would not recommend, but you are in charge of your own life. So I think you'll figure out how that works for you. Another tip that I would have for you is don't feel bad if you can't bring your sketchbook or your art supplies everywhere. I feel like sometimes I personally feel very guilty if I don't do art on a trip, and I think that's okay. You don't need to do art on a trip to make it worthwhile. You should have fun and enjoy your leisure time, and feel free to take photos and draw later. That's okay. The last tip that I have that I've already been alluding to this entire time is make sure that you have time to enjoy yourself and don't consume yourself with just trying to capture everything in your art or photos or videos, Just make sure that you're in it and you're enjoying yourself. And I think as long as that's happening, then in my book, that's pretty cool. And I feel like you had a good trip, whether or not you do art. These are kind of prompts for your art on trips. So let's see, what do I have on this list? I would say something that you could definitely draw on a sketchbook that would be really interesting is what you ate. It could be what did you eat for breakfast, or what did you eat in a whole day? What are the cool things that you tried out? Maybe jot down some notes about tasting notes, that'd be cool. Draw some people that you see, as long as you're not being creepy. But yeah, draw some people. If you see people and you're like, oh, that's cool, just do a little doodle. Any fashions that you find that are really cool. Okay, other things that you can draw. I think you could draw candies or desserts that you have. Specifically, I always love to go to a grocery store and see what candies other countries have. So that is kind of what I like to draw, but I also really like labels too. So yeah, other things that you can draw, I would say if you're in a country with a different language, try drawing like all the fruits and vegetables that are available and like naming it in the country's language. I think it's a really cool way to try to learn the language of the country you're visiting. Another thing that you can do is make a compilation of your day. So create a spread with all the little highlights of your day. What did you see? What did you eat? What are the new words that you learned? Anything else that you want to add in there? Yeah, I think that's really cool to look at later and remember what you experienced on your trip. Another thing that I would draw is drawing landscapes or plants that I found, even just plants that are maybe growing like on the sidewalk where you're walking. I think that's really cool. I do like botanicals though, so any plants that you find you're not used to, I think that would be cool to draw too. Last thing that you could do in your travel sketchbook, you can add in like tickets and receipts and things to just remember your trip by. I think that is really cool. Pamphlets or brochures, you could even collage those in with some artwork. If you are going somewhere and you're planning on doing art, please let me know in the comments down below. I do want to know where you're going and hopefully live vicariously through you. I did make a video specifically on travel supplies that I'll link somewhere. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!